Hello there. This is a very special day for all of you Whovians and hooligans and other Doctor Who fans out there. It's Peter Davison's birthday, that's right. Peter Davison, he portrayed the fifth incarnation of the Doctor from 1981 to 1984. I've seen almost all of the episodes in which he's appeared in. That up there you see is an action figure next to a red Dalek of Peter Davison. I always put a figure of each of the Doctors. I have the whole set for each of their birthdays, and today's April 13th, so it's Peter Davison's birthday, and I'm going to share with you some of the DVDs that I've actually bought of Peter Davison's era. Like I was going to say before I started rambling, I actually rented quite a few of them from Netflix, but I don't have them here. So I'll only show you the ones I've got so far. So let me take you over here a little bit. And here is the first one of the lot that I'm going to talk about. Let me just get everything set up here so it's appropriate. This is Castrovalva. This is the first Fifth Doctor story, which premiered in 1982. On the cover you see Peter Davison as the Doctor and the late Anthony Ainley as the Master. Here are some photos from that story. It's a wonderful introduction. It actually explains to you a lot about the regeneration of the Doctor and how that process works. A little information on this. I actually got this at a store called Best Buy for $9.99. Brand new. Very, very happy with that one. And that's the first Peter Davison Fifth Doctor story. For the second one, we have Black Orchid. This is from the same season, the 19th season of the original Doctor Who airing on the BBC. And this is a two-part story. It takes place in England during the Roaring Twenties. And it's a whodunit. And as you can see on the cover, Sarah Sutton actually plays two roles. One is Nyssa and a human look-alike. And this is a very good episode for Peter Davison and Sarah Sutton as Nyssa. One of my favorite of the Doctor Who two-parters, actually. A lot of fun. And this is the next to the last episode of the 19th season, Earthshock. Very intense Cyberman story. A lot different than some of the other Cyberman stories on Doctor Who. During the era of Star Wars and the big special effects movies, the Cybermen seemed extremely menacing, I must say, in this particular story. And this was the final episode for Audric, as played by Matthew Waterhouse. The real shock of this episode is that, as all of you Whovians know, he dies at the end. And while he wasn't a favorite character, it was a very melodramatic scene. I don't think the Doctor had ever lost any of his companions, long-term companions, I'm not counting Katrina, to death before. So this is a very intense and powerful episode. Now this is part of a set called the Black Guardian Trilogy, and this is the Modern Undead. This brings Unit and the Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart back into the show, along with the introduction of Mark Strickson as Vizlor Turlough. He was actually the only male companion, or the last male companion, I should say, of the 1980s. And actually one of my favorites, because he was just as mysterious as the Doctor. And you didn't find out until near the end of the show what Turlough's actual story was, but this was his introduction. We all saw the White Guardian in Tom Baker and Mary Tamsky at the time, but this is the Black Guardian, the entity of whom he has a Sun and the Moon relationship, and a story about that. This is the second part of the Black Guardian trilogy, Terminus. This is a bottle story that takes place on a hospital ship and is the finale for Sarah Sutton's Nyssa, who's displayed on the cover. She says a very intellectual and potent goodbye to the Doctor, One of my favorite companions. I missed her. This is probably the best of the series because we get a chance to meet the Black Guardian for the first time, and it has some wonderfully dreamy special effects of these space sailing ships flying through the cosmos. Enlightenment, and that's the end of the Black Guardian trilogy, where Turlough officially joins as a companion. And now this is the Five Doctors. This was made for Doctor Who's 20th anniversary in 1983. It gave a chance for all of the Five Doctors to be in the story in some fashion. Tom Baker here did not elect to be in this one because he had just left the series primarily, and because of his relationship not being that strong with John Nathan Turner, the producer of the show. But it gave a chance for Patrick Troughton, Peter Davison, John Pertwee, and Richard Hurndall, replacing the then-deceased William Hartnell as the first Doctor, to interact. Sarah Jane Smith is in it, K9. Caroline John makes a brief appearance as Liz Shaw. And for the first time since 1963, Carol Ann Ford appears as the Doctor's granddaughter, Susan. Great four-part multi-Doctor story. One of Peter Davison's best, actually, in the role. Another little two-parter here, featuring the Master, the King's Demons. This is the introduction of Chameleon, a very, very short-lived companion that was apparently very hard to work with. And he was cut off from the show in an episode later in the season called Planet of Fire. Another show I just recently saw, Planet of Fire, very much worth checking out. Now, this next story is The Awakening, another two-part story. This one taking place in 1984, actually. It's a contemporary piece, and gives you a chance to meet Tegan's grandfather, and it's a very intriguing story as well. Two-parter, gets a little bit better each time you watch it. I've seen this twice. First time, it was okay, but second time, I really, really got to like this story because I love this idea of, people playing period war games under the influence of extraterrestrial power. Very Doctor Who. I also have Peter Davison's last story, and probably his best, one of the best of the classic show, The Caves of Androzani. This is him with Nicola Bryant as Perry. And here are some pictures from that story. This is the one with Cher as Jack. This is a very intriguing story with a lot of pathos and some really fine acting. And almost cinematic. Could have been a movie. Probably one of the greatest Doctor Who stories and regeneration stories ever made. And you get to see Colin Baker at the end, where he says, Perry asked him what happened, and he says, "Change, my dear. And it couldn't have happened a moment too soon." Very dramatic introduction for the Sixth Doctor. This is a great send-out to the Peter Davison era. And I haven't seen all of the stories that he has been in, I will admit to you. But he is actually one of my favorite Doctors. And today, I wish him a very, very happy birthday. And this is one of my tributes to him. So, I hope all of you enjoy this. And just remember to keep time and space turning in your life. See you soon.